Hello, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Jerick Show, the only show you need for your weekly dose of security news, views, opinions, and all the good stuff.
Welcome to The Jerick Show, featuring your hosts, Javvad, Malik, and Erich, Kron. Timely topics, poorly presented.
I think I smoothed that out there. I don't think anyone noticed that I hit the go live button by accident without getting the assets up there. So today is a very good episode we have coming up for you. Well, I don't know, it's good. You're the ones to judge whether it's good. I'm excited to be back. It's been a long time off. It's been an August off holidays and vacations, and so we've not been around, but we are back now, and we've got a special episode full of secrets and lies and deception. I suppose that's the best way I can explain it. Speaking of deception, Erich Kron, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, and no, that was really sloppy, man. It's like you haven't done this in a while, and
It was smooth. No one could tell.
you're doing you're doing the look thing half the time. This time you didn't look, and boom, you're live. Oh man, no, it is
That's,
good to be back. Yeah,
I was just saying that's because you were too busy chatting to me in the green room before go live and suddenly looked up and like, oh, we're late.
yeah. No, you're right though. You talked about August, man. It has been a while, but it has been crazy. Like, I was trying to think. I don't even think we've done an episode since like I did Black Hat and all that kind of good stuff. That seems like so long ago now, but that was only like a month ago, man. How crazy is that,
It just like, you blink and life goes past so quickly
man?
these days.
Man, yes, so much has happened, so much is going on. Obviously, we've stayed very busy. You were on vacation. All kinds of changes at work, right? We both work at the same place, and that's been interesting. But it's good to be back. Like I miss doing this, man. I miss having these chats on Friday, and I can't tell you how many times I hear people saying things about, oh yeah, I catch your show on occasion, and I like your show, and we're over here, and we always look up, and it's like zero people watching, but then we also get comments, right? Like I don't know if anyone's watching right now, throw up some comments because it's always funny because this platform really stinks on
Where
telling
there
us
is a
what's going on.
delay. Actually, if anyone from StreamYard is watching, please could you fix your stats and live viewership because it doesn't work. It
No,
just doesn't work.
no, it really,
Anyway,
really doesn't.
yeah.
Anyway.
For those joining, when I was saying it doesn't work, I wasn't talking about Eric for a change. Anyway,
Oh,
let's
wow.
let's jump straight into the story. So the first one we have is a study saying 61% of us companies hit by insider data breaches. What do you think of that as a citizen of us?
Um, I think that as an usser, I can't really argue that number because, I mean, we see it all the time. We hear the stories because we're kind of in that human side of things. And we do hear stories all the time. And it's not necessarily like the traditional, what everyone thinks of an insider threat, like somebody's there to steal things. It's the goof ups, it's the mess ups, it's the, like, how many of us have sent an email to the wrong person, right? We've done that. Or we've been like, oh crap, who is included in that snarky thread that we threw off to the side? Right. This is why things like WhatsApp have the auto deleting messages.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not surprised.
Um, you know, I I thought the figure looked really high, and that's because when you start breaking it down beyond the headline, the
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
clickbaity headline, it's not just malicious inside, like
No.
malicious insider. It's just people making a mistake, like you said, people accidentally hitting reply all when they meant to hit reply, people adding the wrong John Doe into the email, people, what have you. So it's the whole list of human error, really, is what you could call it.
Yeah.
61% of data breaches a result of people making a mistake. and a small portion of those actually being malicious, whatever, North Korean IT workers wanting to fund the kingdom. But it is interesting. And I think what's here is like, whilst I've flippantly called it human error, what it really is poor architecture. It's where systems are designed in a way, or the controls are there in a way that they're not really helpful to actually preventing this kind of stuff. And I know
Yeah.
some things are getting better at it. It's like on Gmail, if you send an email and you say like, "Oh, attached is a file," and you forget to attach a file, and you hit send, it'll actually stop it and say, "Hey, you said you were going to attach a file. Please do it."
Yeah.
So
What are you thinking? Yeah.
you have these capabilities now that they can help you prevent those sort of like data leakage going out, in the sense that not in Google, but other products, maybe ours. But you can look at an email going out and it's everyone's internally, and one email account is an external email account. You say, "Hey, stop! You're sending this to an external party. Are you sure you want to send it to them as well?" Or it's come and you're only sharing it within your group of colleagues, and now you're sending it to someone in marketing. Are you sure you want it to go there? So these sorts of controls can really help. So I think a lot of where we see errors made by people, the first instinct is, how do we educate them?
Yeah.
And sometimes that's true. Sometimes we need to educate, but oftentimes it's just like, no, how can we make their job easier so that it's harder to do that? If you design a road or a highway or something, and 80% of cars have a crash at a corner, simply telling them slow down before you reach that
Yeah.
corner isn't going to fix the problem. There's fundamentally something wrong in the way that the road is designed, that so maybe you can add rumble strips from before, you can add more visible signage, you can have like illuminated or like reflective signs to say that the road's whatever it might be, that can actually help reduce those risks. It's not always like human error, it's a whole host of things.
Yeah. You know what? And there are like some of this is, I think, caused by some of the tools themselves. Okay. Like
Mhm.
adding people to emails. So you think about it like in Gmail or even in, I think,
Yeah.
Outlook and stuff. You start typing someone's name and it's like, oh, okay, this is whatever name. And you're like, yeah, that's it. Boom, you hit it. But it's not really that Bob or that Fred, or, insert pretty typical names here and there. It's
Yeah.
not necessarily that person. And then boom, it goes out to the wrong person. But I like that some of the platforms are helping with that. Zoom, for example, it's kind of annoying because we do so many Zoom calls with like external customers, right? But every time I add someone outside the organization, it's like, are you really sure you want to send this? It actually asked me twice. Like, do you really want to send this out to these recipients? And
Yeah.
it makes you think about that. So having those tools in place to help counter the tools and make it more more
Yeah.
efficient. It's kind of an
Yeah.
interesting gameplay there. But
It
I
is.
think you're right. Yeah, this is so much as accidental. Even though this is a Pokemon study, which I always tend to
Oh,
just kind
yeah.
of dismiss out of the gate. I'm sorry, Pokemon, but come on, man.
Yeah.
I can't argue this because it really is about the mistakes and stuff that we do. And again, we hear about this all the time.
Mm, mm. It is. And just the last point on that. This is why it's so important for people that designing these tools that intervene to really understand human behavior and mindset uh, uh, really well. Because simply just sending out a notification saying, "Are you sure you want to send it to these people?" You do too many of those, and people just become blind to it. They'll just click OK,
Yeah.
OK, OK through it just to get their job done. So you need to be very deliberate and very mindful of how you design these controls, and that can't be
Yeah.
done unless you actually have someone on staff that understands human behavior and designs controls with that
Because
in mind.
you can't add too much friction
No,
or it's going to make people mad. So
it
yeah,
is.
it's a balancing act. You're right. You actually have to understand it and think through what it is you're doing.
Yep.
Cool. Dead horse.
So pressure on CISOs to stay silent about security incidents is growing. So a recent survey found that 69% of CISOs, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's like more than 2/3. That's like, I'm trying to think of an American way to explain it. That's like if, that's like, you know, that's like if 50,000 people in Times Square were told to keep quiet about breaches by their employer.
Well, we've been doing it about UFOs for years, so we're
Yeah,
pretty good at that kind of stuff. And I do like the fact this is not a Pokemon survey, um,
no.
but I think it's interesting. I thought we were getting past that. I thought we were
Mm,
getting to the point that organizations and people in general are kind of going, okay, we understand that this happens on occasion. And I know you and I have talked about this a number of times about putting the importance on how the response is
yeah,
when something does go wrong and being honest about it and upfront and transparent. Yet the drive here is to silence it again. And I just don't see there being the shame in it that there used to be. So why drive that? I don't get it.
yeah. Maybe there's still a lot of paperwork people are trying to avoid. There's, and as the article says over here, it's like CISOs are under pressure to downplay or avoid reporting despite the risk of personal liability,
Yeah.
which is a growing concern amongst CISOs. But there's a good story here. Brian Marlett, who was at a previous company, was asked not to share the risks with an audit committee, to over embellish the security capabilities on the SEC Form 10K. That's some heavy. This is not just about sweeping something minor under the
No.
rug. That is big time fraud. And this came after they were told not to share details of a BEC that they had recently occurred. And they added that the CEO had 1 year left before retiring and didn't want to rock the boat. Uh,
That's a tough spot to be in because, like, for how many years were CISOs always the sacrificial lamb, right? It's
yeah,
like, oh, something went wrong, fire the CISO. Hey, look, folks, we care. We canned somebody over this. Now we care. Trust us. Move on. Right? That was the role for many years. And now to tell them basically to lie or to be quiet about it. I mean, did we learn nothing from Uber?
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
exactly.
it's a step backwards, and I hate to see this. And I feel for any of the CISOs that are out there. I feel for you if you're being put under this kind of pressure.
Mm,
Personally, as I said, I think it's more important to let people that, especially with a data breach that involves people's personal information and stuff, it's much better to let them know that that's happened quickly so they're not sitting out there with, basically their shorts down in the wind and not even realizing that they're that exposed. I hate to see that so much.
yeah, yeah. And this study has got some good quotes in it as well. It's not just a bunch of people clicking on links. So, two CISOs, they were told to cover, and like the justification they said was always the same. This isn't necessarily a cybersecurity incident. So this sounds like when they get lawyers involved and they can say,
Yeah.
well, technically this is just a misconfiguration or unauthorized pen test that we are now authorizing. So, it's,
Yeah.
decisions made without the CISO's involvement.
It's only sensitive data if you count every word
Yeah.
in the information that was stolen. But if you ignore every other word, it no longer becomes sensitive. Like
So,
how do you do this? I don't even get it.
so I don't know if you have the brand Oxo in the US. They make the chicken cubes, like those cubes that you put into.
I'm
You
not
could
sure. We have
Okay,
our
but
own
they're
chickens.
like flavored cubes for whatever. And if you go along the River Thames, there's a tower, there's a building there, and there's a tower, and they have in stained glass windows. They have Oxo. So it's called the Oxo Tower, and that
Okay.
building was owned by Oxo in the 70s or whenever. And the law is that if you have a building on the Thames, you're not allowed to have any advertising on it. You're not allowed to have your brand there.
Yeah.
So when they put up their stained glass windows spelling Oxo, they got taken to court by the council. And their defense was, we just asked the designers, the glass makers, for some randomly geometrical symmetrical shapes, and they gave us 2 O's and an X in that order, and that was accepted as legal justification. And
Wow.
so they got away with it. So even today, you can go along. Now there are flats underneath it, as nearly everything in London is turned into flats. But it feels like those same lawyers are now here saying, "Well, it's not a security breach." Like you said, like it's every letter. If you count every letter, then it it's not. It's just a random assorted list of bits and bytes. So
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I mean this is where lawyers make their money, right? Well, technically, but that's interesting. I didn't realize that about the advertising there on the river. I mean, it's a huge tourist spot, obviously, so that sort of makes sense. You don't want it to end up looking like Times Square, right?
no,
Um,
no.
but that is interesting. Okay.
Okay, cool. So next up, we've got hackers threaten Google with data leak unless company fires 2 threat intelligence employees. This
Dude,
is
this is
brilliant.
I think this is funny. I think this is very, very funny. And I think this is a great thing to put on your resume or on LinkedIn. Like, we're so damn good.
Yeah,
The consortium of hackers has said, can these guys or else, right? And so, Google's going to say, yeah, we terminated them. Mark and John are gone, but here's Nodge and Carm. Or,
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
like, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Totally not the same 2 people or whatever, right?
Yes.
Like, I don't know. I thought this was kind of funny though they're they're so concerned about these folks that they're pulling this. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. Have you?
No, I've not. And it's like you said, it's a real badge of honor, I think, if you're one of those people that
Yeah,
scattered
I'd say well
spider or
done,
whoever.
guys. Well
they
done. Yeah.
they wanted me wanted me fired. And if I was in that threat team and I wasn't one of those people, I'd feel so offended. Like they see me as such a low level threat to them that they don't want me fired.
Now, on the flip side, I wouldn't open any unexpected packages for a while that show up
No,
at your
no,
house,
no,
or
exactly.
I mean, you're making criminals mad, but holy cow, like the. So it kind of makes me think this is why hackers and stuff, and maybe we should be doing this as counter hackers using handles, right?
Yep, yep.
And trying to make sure that they don't know who you really are. But I wow, I thought this was quite interesting.
It was. It was. So let's quickly move on. I know
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
we're
yeah,
over
yeah.
time,
Ah, well,
but
what's
last
time?
one. Let's stay on the topic of secrets and lies and deception.
Oh
And the
yeah,
UK government under pressure over secret data breach review.
yeah. It took them
So
like
it's
11 months or something to release this, right? Like the report was
yeah,
done, and then they sat on it forever.
yep, yep. Um,
We talked about
you
that
know
a
the,
couple of
the
stories ago.
the cabinet office investigated a series of recurring weaknesses in how sensitive data is handled across Whitehall and other departments. One of the most significant failings was a lack of adequate controls over ad hoc downloads and bulk exports of sensitive.
And I was wrong. It was 22 months according to that down there.
Oh,
The
wow.
report was done 22 minutes
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
before
yeah.
and only now really. Come on. I
It's
mean,
terrible.
yeah,
It
this is
is.
the government. They're supposed to kind of work for the people and protect the
Yeah.
people. And
But they're the government. They work as quickly as tar running uphill. It's
that's, yeah, no, that's true. That's true. I just, what I always think about when I see stuff like this is what are the repercussions for this? Like what is going to happen to those folks that sat on this for 22 months for whatever reason? And the answer is probably absolutely nothing, or they'll get promoted.
exactly.
If your
It's like
government
it'll
works
be
like
like
ours, yeah.
we investigated ourselves and found no evidence of any wrongdoing.
Yeah.
and therefore we're clearing ourselves.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, people like to think, oh well, voting, they're going to vote them out if they do it, but nobody remembers this stuff, right? It's like the quick anger, and then boom, it's gone. I don't even think politicians need PR people anymore because everyone's outraged for about 10 minutes and then they move on. But this is kind of sad that we have something like this going on. And it was personal details of, like, what's it saying? A police service of Northern Ireland officers? Man, we're talking about law enforcement information going out there. And I don't know how much they knew, or if maybe there was a truncated or redacted version of the report that at least told these folks, by the way, the bad guys know who you are now.
Yeah, yeah. It's a weird one. I, I,
Yeah.
I just blame whoever the two people at Google are, like whatever their names are. I just
Well, it's
blame them.
interesting.
I think if
Yeah.
Google fires them, all our problems will go away.
Well, around here, at least I'm not sure if it's a state thing or federal thing or whatever, but like law enforcement officers can redact a lot of their information online. So, like the tax records that are normally available for everybody, not available online for law enforcement officers because people get mad and they come after them in the family, right? They get out of prison a few years from now or whatever. We have things with our HOA even that there's no information on some of the people in the neighborhood, or at least it can't be shared because they are members of law enforcement. So we have some of those protections around that kind of stuff, but it just goes to show how sensitive that information can be. I mean, honestly, we wouldn't have laws like that if some things didn't happen.
Exactly.
So yeah,
it's
but
it's hold on. I just also found a quick link for you. Oh, where'd that go?
this is fun. I got a tap dance to fill the dead air from you. Dude, did you just go? I think he just went away. Well, folks, now we have an image of Javvad staring at the microphone or something. I think he's going to try to rejoin us, but I can say really bad things about him now, and there's not a damn thing he can do about it. Anyway, so having said that, we're kind of out of stories. Been a pleasure. Nice to talk to you. I'll see you again. Feel free to, oh, wait, no. He's pulling up this Oxo Tower, London. So he's still kind of here, but not really here. Javvad, if you can hear me, turn off your camera and save some bandwidth. Okay, folks. Well, we're going to end on that note. This was really kind of a terrible thing that just happened here. Nice to see you. We should be back next week, hopefully doing this a lot more. Something I'd love to hear in the comments, we are talking about bringing back guests, something we did in the past in the early part of the show. So we're thinking about doing that again. I'd love to hear in the comments whether or not you think that would be the good thing to do. So take care of yourself. See you next week.